My name's Dan Harris. I'm a beekeeper. I've done this before. You might look back last year and see my swarm trapping videos. This is going to be another, just a new season. It's March 26th. I've got swarm traps set out and I've got the first trap swarm. So I'm getting ready to go into that hive and get it organized for to begin building their nest, and also to allow me to transport it to another location. I'm going to show you, in case you haven't seen before, where and how I do this. So this is my grandchildren's treehouse. They just actually left a week ago after their spring break, but they were here for the better part of a week, had a great visit. They left, swarm traps came out. I have, as you see to the right, you see one trap there. This next one right here that we come to has, a swarm has moved into it. There's another empty next to it, and another empty next to that. And then we come around to this side, and there's a trap up there, empty and baited. And I have two traps over here that are lower, but they're also empty and baited. Now, the way I do this, just to kind of give you a picture of this, basically, if you look at this, this is a nuke with two deeps. About the same volume as a Langstroth hive, about the same volume that swarms are reported to prefer. And swarms do like a vertical nest, so I think they work better than using a regular 10-frame hive. And also they're a little easier for me to manage than a 10-frame hive. I'll show you inside how I bait them. All right, we can look down in here. We look down in here. I don't know if this is going to show. There's a frame here. There's a Q-tip on top. One side of that Q-tip right there. One side of that Q-tip has been wetted with lemongrass oil. And I have a frame with comb, dark comb on it. And both of these things, lemongrass oil and drawn comb, is very, very, very appealing to a swarm. The rest of it is empty, except I do have a Q-tip near the entrance to the nuke as well, or to the trap as well. And that's just to kind of catch the attention of scout bees as they're out and about. So a Q-tip, one end wetted, and then I kind of wipe off the excess, drop to the entrance, one on top of a frame with drawn comb, and the rest vacant space. Bees they want that empty space. You could put foundation in there, but it would actually reduce the appeal of the potential nesting site. If you filled it with 10 frames of drawn comb, well, that would be fine. But I start out this way to trap them. Let's go annoy some bees. Every time I come up through this hole, I think, I'm too old for this stuff. I have lost my mind. But here I am. Let's get some bees organized. All right, first, I do not open hives without a veil on. I may go without gloves, but I don't open without a veil on. I get a sting on an eyelid or a sting on my nose, I'm just going to embarrass myself and go somewhere and cry. So just so you know, I'm going to wear a veil. I'm in a tree house. I'll try to give you a little panoramic look. I'm parked over there in front of the barn. Down there's the honey house, my house in the distance through the trees, and a bee yard with about 20 to 30 hives, which is probably where most of the swarms will come from. Now, if I step back, getting ready to go into that first one because there is a swarm in that. The one that the smoker's on is empty. The next one over is also empty. Those positions are the most popular for whatever reason. Then I have one here that faces that direction. And I have one there that faces toward the barn. These are less popular, but I have caught swarms in them. And then I have two down there. So I guess I'm going to call this Swarm Central. I think that's probably what I should call this. I also use smoke, just the way I am. It's just one of my many things. I use smoke. I always have gloves nearby. Always have a long sleeve shirt nearby. It's about 60 degrees and it's just about to rain, but I'm anxious to get in here. These moved in, today's the 26th. They moved in yesterday while I was away. So see if we can do this without creating too big a disturbance. This is always a challenge because they'll be hanging all over the top. I can feel the weight. I can feel the weight. And I feel the weight as they fall. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see how many bees there are in there, but there is a mob of bees. So what we're going to do, and they're making comb already, and that's why we're anxious to get some foundation in here. We don't start out with foundation because they're attracted to that big empty cavity. They're also attracted to a little bit of comb, but they're also attracted to that empty space. But once you got them, once they've moved in there of their own accord, oh, y'all, oh, once you got them in the hive, you know, they chose this location, they chose this container or cavity. I'm putting foundation in there, by the way, plastic foundation. A new swarm is a wax comb drawing machine. Something happens to bees instinctively when they swarm. It's as though they know they have got to build a nest right from scratch, and that if they fail to do it in a quick fashion, they won't survive. And I know bees don't really know that. What they do, though, is their instincts have been honed to do that. So, my goodness, that's a pile of bees. I don't, you know, and there's a pile more down in there. This has got to be a 5-pound swarm. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, they're not going to be happy with me. They're just not going to be happy with me, but that's what we got to do, is what we got to do. Oh, lots of bees. So, to help encourage them to draw more comb, I will start feeding them as soon as I put this together. I give them sugar water, it's carbohydrates. New comb is built largely on carbohydrates. And I'm not going to brag too quick. And then I'll leave them up here. I'll feed them for a few days here, and then I've got to get them out of here. I can't move them down the hill into that bee yard, because if I do that, by then, you know, all the foragers will have already identified this as the location of their home, and if I move their home, they'll come back here looking for it. They won't find it, and they won't know where to go. So they'll be lost. All right. So we're going to dump these bees back into this box. Oh, I'm so sorry. And you see they're building comb already. And that's why when I set up swarm traps, I have to, the only place I put them is here near my home, because I can check these traps every day. If I left one out in an out yard and it was gone for a couple weeks, you know, by the time I went and checked it, that they would have filled this thing full of comb willy-nilly. They would have had brood in that willy-nilly comb and honey and pollen, and I'd have had to cut all of that out rather than just that little piece, and it would just be such a huge, such an enormous waste of bee energy. Just a total waste. So, oh, let's do this. Let's just do this. All of these bees have got to wind up in this box, or at least not in this top. I'll show you why in a minute. Yeah, y'all got to get in there. I know, crazy beekeeper guy. What a pain he is. This is the feeder I use. The bees can't get up into this feeder. So if I put this top on with bees in it, they'll be trapped inside the feeder. And these bees will find their way back into this box because they found it. They've already found it. They've already identified this as their home. I'll give them about a half gallon of syrup, because I may not get back in there for another day or two. But they should be, if everything else is equal, they should be comb drawing machines. And we don't want to waste a second of that comb drawing time. We want them. All right, I just sit that on top. Nobody can get in it. Half gallon of sugar syrup. I won't be surprised if they don't consume that today. And if they do, I'll give them more tomorrow. And that is the first swarm caught in the traps for 2019. March 25th is when they moved in. There is that piece of comb they drew from scratch since yesterday when they got moved in. I don't know when they came. Probably it was yesterday afternoon. So we only wasted that amount. Again, if I had waited for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days to get in here, why, you know, all the comb that they built, which probably would have been a huge amount, would have been totally wasted, and it would have just been a sad waste. So, and there it is. Anyway, I appreciate you watching and hope you learned something, or if you have advice for me, I'm always open to new ideas. So let me know. Thank you very much for watching.